Hi, thank you for joining us for this video to learn what it's like to be a Nemours nurse. My name's Carrie. I'm a cardiac intensive care nurse here at Nemours Alfred I. DuPont Hospital for Children in Wilmington. I'm here today with Kristen.
Hi, I'm Kristen, and I'm a NICU nurse here at AI DuPont Hospital for Children. So we're here to answer some questions commonly asked of us, as well as to take some of your questions in the comment section below. So, how did I end up in nursing? Well, I sort of took a scenic route. I have a 4-year bachelor's degree in biology, and then I went on to receive my BSN at the University of Maryland. I've been a practicing NICU nurse for 16 years, and I did complete a nurse residency at my very first job, which was hard, but here I am 16 years later. How about you, Carrie?
So I was a straight shooter, I guess you would call it. I went to Penn State. I did a 4-year undergrad Bachelor's of Science in Nursing program. So I graduated in 2018. I then completed a nurse residency here in the Cardiac Center at Nemours. So I've been here since June of 2017. I was an extern before I turned into a new grad here. I also completed the residency program. I just finished that last August. So this August will mark 2 years of nursing here at Nemours in the cardiac ICU.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'll be approaching my 5th year here at Nemours this
Perfect.
May. Yeah, time's flying. So why did I become a nurse? Well, I've always been interested in the sciences, thought a little bit maybe about becoming a doctor, and then I just thought, that's a little too far removed from the patients. So I thought being a nurse was a great way to marry both the sciences and a lot of patient interaction. So obviously after 16 years, I'm very happy with my decision. How about you?
I think I kind of followed the same idea. I actually had a family member who was in and out of the hospital when I was a lot younger, and I think the nurses there really did a great job of making not just my grandfather feel comfortable, but the rest of us in his family feel comfortable there as well, and they really went out of their way to just make us understand and feel safe leaving him there and going home and coming back. So I feel like I just wanted to do that for somebody else, and I knew I loved kids, so pediatrics was always top of my list. So I'm very, very happy where I am. I love my job. I love being a pediatric nurse.
That's awesome. Some things that I wish that I had known prior to going into nursing was, as weird as this sounds, I didn't really know what a nurse did. I didn't have a lot of experience in hospitals or really had, anybody that was terribly sick. Mm-hmm. So I wish that I'd gotten a little bit more exposure to what nurses are prior to. How about you?
I would think that in school you really don't get as much exposure to intensive care nursing, especially pediatric intensive care nursing. I really never knew that even there was a such thing as a cardiac ICU before I heard about the externship here. So kind of getting that exposure, ICU nursing is awesome. I love working here. I love the critical care aspects. I love thinking on my feet, making decisions, and I really think that's one of my favorite things about nursing, that you don't really know until you start.
Right. A lot of on-the-job training, for sure. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what makes a great nurse, or at least what I think. Let's see. Compassion. Obviously, I think we are in the business of caring. A sense of curiosity. There's so much to learn.
Yes.
And sort of putting yourself out there. And
there's always something new.
Always something new, and accepting the challenge. And then I think just continuing education.
Yeah.
Things are changing on a dime, and
Right.
getting more maybe certifications,
right.
or investigating other areas of nursing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what makes a good nurse.
I agree. I think I would add maybe adaptability, especially in intensive care nursing. Just being adaptable, your patient could be fine and then 1 second they're not fine. So being able to think on your feet and change assignments or kind of help somebody else out if something happens with their patient, I think is one of the biggest things that makes a great nurse.
So true, especially in the ICU settings. Yeah, we can see that happen often. So how'd you come to Nemours? Why Nemours?
That's tough. So honestly, I had known Nemours was a hospital. I'm from Pennsylvania, so Delaware's neighboring. So I knew about Nemours. I applied on a whim for this externship that I had my junior going into my senior year of college. And when I ended up accepting that externship, I learned all about Nemours. And I think the values that Nemours boasts are awesome. It's a great place to work. I think that they really care about their staff members. They really care about their employees, and not just nurses, but physicians, housekeeping, everybody that kind of helps to make this ship run smoothly. I think Nemours does a great job of kind of unifying everyone together.
For sure. Yeah, I noticed that too. I felt like when I walked through the doors here that there was a feeling. I don't... Sort of indescribable, but it just felt right. It felt compassionate. It felt warm. It felt like a place that I wanted to be.
I would say one of my favorite things is coming in the morning. Everybody's a little bit miserable. No one wants to come to work in the morning, but there is a security guard, and every morning I come in, he greets me with a happy hello, a smile on his face, and it kind of just like turns your day around. Like, oh, he's here, he's happy. Why I can be too. So
and
I think
on the flip side, I walk out in the morning. I'm a night shift nurse, and he always says, have a good sleep.
What advice do we have for new nurses? I think my best advice, being a relatively new nurse myself, would be that it takes time to become comfortable. You're not going to understand things right away and get things right away, but putting in that time and effort is good for you as a nurse to further your education and your knowledge, but also for your patients. Putting in that time and effort and making relationships with their families. That's one of my favorite parts of nursing is kind of building those relationships, and then you see those kids go home, and that's just like one of the best feelings.
Yeah. And to your point, don't rush the process.
No.
You don't know what you don't know. It's a steep hill to
uphill
climb.
Battle.
Yeah, for sure. And we all crawled before we walked, so the same is true with nursing, and especially intensive care nursing. Just take a deep breath, one step at a time, and you'll get through it just fine.
And lean on your coworkers. They're there to support you. They're there to help you. They want you to succeed as much as you want to succeed. So by leaning on them, asking them questions, constantly just garnering new information, that's one of the best things you can do for yourself as a new nurse. Interview process, I don't know if ours were the same. So when I actually interviewed twice. I interviewed as an extern, and I interviewed then as a new grad. So my interviews for those two were very similar. So I came in, I met with my nurse manager and one of our clinical educators. I then met with a staff panel of our patients' flow supervisors. So there are essentially our assistant managers. And then we met with a group of staff nurses, so the people we would be coming in to work with, which I really appreciated, because I think you really, coming full circle, I've interviewed incoming candidates, and I feel like it really makes a difference if you're going to be working with these people and asking those questions. Why do you want to be a cardiac ICU nurse? Why do you want to do this? Like, how do you feel like you'll benefit, Nemours and be good on our team? I think it really makes a difference to those staffing nurses, having new people come in being like, oh, I interviewed her and she was great.
And feeling like you have a say in who's being hired onto your unit. Yeah, our process works similarly. The interview with the manager can be a little more formal and maybe a little more scary. But then we have a panel of nurses that we sit, and we're a little more comfortable, sort of in a circle, talk about, what we like about our unit. And that way we get a sense of each other in a much more relaxed environment.
So as a new grad, what we do is we rotate shifts. So I work 3 weeks of days and 3 weeks of nights in a 6-week schedule. I personally like that. I think it's, especially coming in as a newer nurse, it really gives you the ability to kind of see what night shift is like and see what day shift is like, because different things happen on different shifts. Like day shift, we get post-op patients, and it's kind of a lot more busy. Everybody's here. And night shift, it's a lot more chill, but I mean, still emergencies happen 24/7. So it's nice to work night shift too, and when the attending goes to sleep and the practitioner goes to sleep for a little bit, it's like, okay, so this happened, what do I do? Critical thinking, and then, hey, this happened, do you want to come out, what should we do? You know what I mean?
Have to be a little bit more resourceful on nights, because you don't really have everybody around.
What shift do you work?
I work mostly night shift. I'm, I guess, technically a rotator, but I do mostly nights. It's good,
Night shift's a little tough. I'm still getting used to it.
But I'm okay at sleeping, so so far so good.
What keeps me at Nemours? I guess going back to what we were saying before, the friendliness, the happiness. People are excited. We always do things. We have Phillies player coming and Eagles players coming and taking our kids downstairs, and the excitement on their faces, and it's just I feel like it's such a close-knit group, and they really try to unify us and make us want to be here. And I think that's one of my biggest things, is that if somebody wants me to be here, I want to be here more.
I couldn't agree more. I also think that there's so much happening in this hospital. We're in a state of transition, at least on our unit in the NICU. We've just developed an advanced delivery program. So we're in a lot of transition and change. So I feel like there's a lot of opportunities for growth and just being a part of some exciting, expanding times.
Right. And I always feel so supported by my managers, my coworkers, my supervisors. I always feel like, hey, I was thinking, what if we tried this on our unit? And they're like, hey, that's a great idea. You know, like, let's try this.
Yeah, a lot of cheerleading behind you to get you to do those things, for sure.
What is your favorite thing about working here, would you think?
My favorite thing? Yeah. Well, I think I have been very fortunate to have been given opportunities to be a part of so many new things to our NICU.
Right.
I mentioned the delivery unit. I'm a new-ish flow supervisor. Yeah, so I think that the opportunities are there. They're there for the taking, and there are... my coworkers are champions around me to help me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Strive for those things. Yeah. How about you?
That's tough. Well, we did just get a new frozen yogurt machine, so that's always a plus.
True.
But my favorite thing about working here, I think, is how supported I feel. I love my coworkers. I feel like I work with a great group of nurses. I work with a great group of attendings and the housekeeper. Like, everybody that I see on my unit always is smiling. They're always friendly and chatting, and it's just so nice to, like, I love coming to work. I never been like, oh, I have to go to work today. It's nice, like, being excited about coming to work.
Yes.
Right?
Unbelievably so. We have a stressful enough job that, you know, having a supportive group and a fun group around us definitely helps.
Right. What advice would we have for somebody who wants to work at Nemours?
I think put yourself out there. There's a lot of opportunities for shadowing, for interviewing. There's residency programs. Go for it.
Yeah.
You know, I've myself have taken in some high school kids and just sort of showed them around. So just see what's out there. You don't know until you start looking. How about you?
I agree with that. I coming from a residency program and an externship here, I mean, I even never, like I said earlier, knew that there was such a thing as a cardiac ICU. I heard of a NICU, I heard of a PICU, but cardiac was totally different from me and very out of my element, out of my comfort zone. So when I came in for my interview, I was like, well, I don't know anything about cardiac nursing. But just coming in, I was really upfront about that. You know, I don't know much about cardiac nursing, but I'm really interested to learn. And they really appreciate that. So even if you don't know if you might be interested in an intensive care position, it's always great to reach out, ask questions, and come in for a shadow day and see what it's like.
Definitely.
Kind of day-to-day nursing, because you can say as much as you want, but coming in and actually being there yourself makes a huge difference.
And don't be intimidated by the fact that you don't know what a cardiac nurse is. You don't know anything about a NICU. I didn't know that either, as you didn't either. So we learned.
And there's always more to learn. There's always more. You know, you can have two kids, same cardiac defect, and they have totally different hospital courses. That's one of my favorite things too. It's always something new.
Right. All right, so it looks like we're getting some questions.
We have a question from an Instagram follower who asked, she said, I'd like to be a teacher there for patients. What are your recommendations for my career path? So I'm sure you might be able to speak more to this than I can, but I would say that we have clinical educators and clinical specialists, and they come in and they are specific to cardiac or specific to NICU. That's a great way to further your nursing career. Come in as a nurse and then learn everything there is to learn, even though you'll always be constantly learning. And then become an educator or become a clinical instructor. Like, there's so many different ways that you can educate families, patients, your fellow coworkers.
And I would just add, I'd recommend a solid bedside nursing maybe background first, just so you have firsthand experience of what you'll be speaking to or teaching.
So child life, somebody else had a question about working with child life. I feel that you guys are probably the same. We have our own child life specialist, Caitlin. She's great. So we can call her whenever we want, you know, hey, this patient loves Frozen. Do you think you could bring some kind of Frozen doll up? And, you know, Caitlin's there in a second. So do you feel the same?
They're also great with the families. You know, our kids can be in the hospital for months, if not years, and so it's really can be disruptive to the whole family. So they'll really pay attention to the siblings as well.
The siblings is great. Explaining cardiac procedures or explaining NICU procedures. They're there to kind of help us educate our patients and their families in a way that makes them understand it and doesn't seem as scary.
Really
you feel like
support
that?
The whole family.
We just wanted to say thank you so much for watching our video. If you have any questions about nursing at Nemours, please leave them in the comments section. We really enjoyed talking to you guys today. See ya.
Thanks. Bye-bye.